Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. When my parents said they were going to adopt Daisy, I knew the drama was starting. On my birthday, she would say, "Jessica is lucky to have real parents who celebrate her birthday, unlike me, whose parents are dead." When I had a boyfriend, she would say, "Jessica has money, so it's right for him to choose Jessica, unlike me, who is dependent on others." And that's how both my parents and my boyfriend turned against me. Before I died in a car accident, I heard her say, "Jessica just had a car accident. But I only have one adulthood ceremony in my life." Opening my eyes again, I saw Daisy cautiously entering the house. I smiled. In my past life, I was framed by a scheming woman. Originally, I was my parents' only daughter, a legitimate heiress, but Daisy, an orphan with both parents dead, successfully evoked my parents' pity by pretending to be innocent and helpless, and managed to enter our family. Her poorly executed act of innocence completely fooled those around me. And so, on the day of my fatal car accident, my family and boyfriend ignored my body, took my money, and held a grand coming-of-age ceremony for her. It nearly shattered me with hate. Opening my eyes again, I saw Daisy standing at the doorstep with a small worn bag. This scene was all too familiar. It was Daisy's first day being adopted. As expected, she said the same words as she did in the past life. "Uncle, Auntie, can I really come in? I've never been to such a nice place before." Her father was my dad's childhood friend, and although they hadn't seen each other in years, they used to be very close. So when her father's daughter became an orphan and put on a pitiful look, my dad kindly adopted her. "Of course you can. From now on, this place is your home." She changed her shoes, delicately sat beside me, and played the role of a pitiful little follower convincingly. "So this is Jessica, right? Just as Uncle and Auntie described. So beautiful, just like a princess." Unlike in my past life, where I would have comforted her and promised her everything I could, this time I didn't hesitate to push back. "What do my pretty dresses have to do with you? Are you a beggar that needs my charity for clothes?" My parents were stunned. They couldn't understand how their always obedient and sensible daughter suddenly turned rebellious. Daisy's eyes momentarily sparkled with a hint of being exposed. I don't need dresses. I don't care what I wear. Having a place to call home is already great. Just hoping Jessica won't dislike me and let me have a place to sleep." Glancing at her, I responded bluntly, "When did I say I dislike you? And I never said you couldn't live here." Trying to manipulate my parents with her words of pity, or to show herself as a victim in order to gain my parents' sympathy, she hesitated a moment, then quickly recovered. Lowering her head, she said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. Please don't misunderstand." The atmosphere became awkward, and my parents quickly stepped in to smooth things over. "Jessica, you're overthinking it. She wouldn't mean that." "Alright, okay, since Daisy is new here, let her go rest first." I had anticipated my parents' reactions. They'd lived their whole lives as if blind to people's true intentions, acting solely on their feelings. But I didn't care. I had been hurt enough in my past life. As my parents led Daisy to her room, she glanced gleefully at my bedroom. "Wow, this must be sister's bedroom. It's so big, bigger than my family's living room. Jessica is so lucky." Unlike me, who always shares a room with my mom's eyes teared up as she turned to me. "Jessica, why not give her your room? After all." I stood up and covered her mouth. "After all what? After all, she's your daughter? It's my fault she had to share a room with her mom since childhood. After all, her family is poor because I stole money from them." My mom was speechless and Daisy was stunned for a while. I walked straight into the room saying, "You want to adopt her? That's your business, but don't come and interfere with me. My things are mine and I won't give them to anyone. Not because I'm arrogant, but because I have the confidence to do so. My family used to be poor and I used to share a room with my mom. But I worked hard, excelling in my studies and earning a scholarship of 100,000 yuan in middle school. I also had a talent for investment and had never made a wrong move in investing. Thus, I made a bold decision at that time. I didn't tell my family about the money and used it for investments. After 2 to 3 years of careful operations, I eventually had 400,000 yuan. I left 100,000 as a base and gave the rest to my parents to buy a house in the city center. The timing was right, and the property's value surged. After selling it, we bought another house in a new location. Each time I chose locations for low buying and high selling, accumulating considerable wealth for my family. It's safe to say that my family's current status is all thanks to me. They wanted to use my comfort to temper their pity towards Daisy. I could not agree to that. During dinner, Daisy rallied and started showing off again. This fish looks so delicious. I've never had such a delicious fish before, but Jessica's tastes are different. I could only have dried shrimps during the new year. It's really uncomfortable. I snorted and pushed away the bowl of food in front of her. I've never eaten such delicious fish before, so I'd better eat more while I can. The days of eating and drinking for free won't last long. If you really can't get used to it, then don't eat. Eating a lot and still complaining, isn't that being cheap? I don't know if I'm a princess, but you definitely are not a princess. Daisy looked at my parents with tears in her eyes, biting her lip. My parents coughed lightly. Jessica, you're being too harsh. I sneered. I can't believe you all can't see it. She's as fake as a peacock, and yet you're all following her around like picking up scraps. My parents held their breath. Jessica, go back to your room and reflect on your words. Reflect on my words? I didn't do anything wrong. Anything wrong? What's there for me to reflect on? If she keeps acting so insincere, I'll lock her in the utility room to reflect. I guess my tone was off as the other 3 people at the table remained silent for a long time, all closing their mouths quietly after finishing dinner and returning to my room. I took out my phone and checked the latest stock market trends, the sea of red numbers bringing me joy. Suddenly, I remembered this point in my past life should be around the second monthly exam in senior year. I dialed my best friend's number. Emily, can I come over to your house to study for a while? Her parents weren't home often, so we often studied at her place. The house was messy, but I couldn't neglect my studies. Sure, she chuckled. Your call came right on time. When I arrived at her house, I understood what she meant by timing. They were supposed to be gathering with quite a few classmates in the living room, and of course Mike was at her house too. My foolish boyfriend, who was as easily duped by Daisy as my biological parents. When he saw me, he came running over with concern. Why didn't you pick up when I called? Are you hot from the journey here? I bought you some water. He handed me the water, and I waved it away expressionlessly. He stared at me in confusion, sitting outside like a statue until I went to the bedroom to study as Emily ran in, full of gossip. What's going on between you and Mike? Why are you ignoring him again? How did our handsome and charming Mike manage to upset you? How did he upset me? There were too many reasons. He gave Daisy the notes I worked hard on for a year. He abandoned me on Valentine's Day to give Daisy an umbrella. He used the money I gave him to buy gifts for Daisy. He celebrated Daisy's birthday on the day I passed away, and the list goes on. This time I just wanted to draw a clear line with him. Emily persisted, but a knock on the door interrupted her, and she went to answer it. A few seconds later, silence fell outside, followed by a deliberately timid voice reaching my ears. Excuse me, is my sister Jessica here? Looks like she was here to find me, but her fake innocence, accompanied by her habitual hair twirling and hips swinging, seemed to say, pay attention to me.
Hello, I'm Daisy.
Jessica's little sister. Emily really thought she was my sister, warmly inviting her in and gesturing for me to come out. Daisy saw me and quickly grabbed my hand. Maybe the audience made her instantly teary-eyed. Daisy, you came here. Uncle and Aunt are worried about you. Let's go home. Okay? You know my parents are still alive, unlike yours. You should cherish what you have so you don't make Uncle and Aunt sad. You all have families, but I don't have one. I really wish I had a family. How mature and gentle her words sounded. It made me sick to my stomach. Feeling unhappy, I couldn't help but lash out. Yeah, why do other people's parents live well but yours died? Is it your bad karma that caused your parents to die? Of course, I cherish my family so that no one dares to try to take advantage of me for free. The room fell silent, everyone shocked at what I said. They probably couldn't understand why I would say such cruel words to this seemingly pitiful girl. But who would have thought that this seemingly innocent and pitiful girl had pushed her own parents into the fire to save herself during a fire, just to get rescued first by the firefighters? Only after I died did I learn this truth. The more venomous a person, the better they are at pretending. And right now, tears were streaming down her face as she said, "Jessica, you may hate me, but you can't insult my parents." I rolled my eyes at her. Who's insulting your parents anyway? I don't keep bringing up deceased people to try to gain sympathy from others. She was stunned, unsure how to respond. Even Emily realized things had taken a wrong turn and quickly separated us. Your sister doesn't seem to want to go back. Why don't you go back first and tell Uncle and Aunt that she's staying at my place? Don't worry, she's safe here. Daisy wiped her tears, looking resolute. If I can't bring my sister back, then I won't go back either. Jessica, just go back. I won't stay at your house. All right, I can go to an orphanage. Some classmates couldn't bear it and advised me, Jessica, just go back for now. She looks really pitiful. Her parents have passed away and your family is so wealthy. What's the harm in supporting her? A hint of unknowable triumph flashed in Daisy's eyes. Yes, she does look quite pitiful. With your saintly heart, why not take her in? What difference does it make to your family? Another classmate, red-faced, interjected. I am just trying to help. Glancing at Daisy. Trying to help? If you're not even willing to support her, then don't burden others with your false kindness. The room fell silent, all eyes fixed on me. Daisy cried pitifully. Jessica, you can't insult me like this. Enough. Jessica has money. She can do as she pleases. Unlike me, who hasn't even had a decent meal from childhood to adulthood. I furrowed my brows as I listened. I have money, but I'm not a target for fortune to shower me with gold from the sky. Why haven't you ever eaten decent food? Did you have bad luck in your past life? Are you a reincarnation of a disaster? She paused her sobbing for a few seconds before continuing. This time there was a hint of sincerity in her voice as she choked back tears. Jessica, I raised an eyebrow at her. What's wrong? Can't keep up the act anymore. Maybe I was too aggressive, or maybe Mike overestimated his place in my heart. Even in this situation, he dares to act all high and mighty. Jessica, I remember you as a very gentle and kind girl. How can you bully another poor girl like this? If you don't want to take her in, there is no need to insult her. Actually, just hearing these words, there is nothing wrong with them. But when I think of all the rotten things he did in his past life, I just can't control my temper. I am not insulting her, so how about I insult you? She pitifully plays innocent. People like you who lack brains. Mike was extremely shocked, looking at me as he reached out his hand. Oh, and the card I gave you? Give it back now. Who knows if you'll take my money to pity her out of the goodness of your heart. Blushing, he took out his bank card from his pocket, feeling embarrassed but wanting to argue anyway. A few classmates pulled him back and gestured at him, so he awkwardly sat down. In the end, nobody dared to speak up for Daisy anymore. Hurry back. Don't be a nuisance here. I'm not at home, so you can entertain my parents. Seeing my bad mood, Emily also gave me the signal to leave. You go back first. Daisy wasn't completely shameless either. In a situation that was of no benefit to her, she naturally didn't want to stay a second longer and left with her tail between her legs. I stayed at Emily's house for a few days and told her a lot about the situation. So she's a scheming woman. I knew something was off. You've never been like this with anyone else. Being best friends for many years, she still trusts me after I died in the past life. She was the first one to rush to the scene and stay by my body. Don't get too close to her. She's the type who takes but doesn't give. Not for forming cliques. This is sincerely for me as advice. Emily hugged my shoulder with a grin. Of course, who wants to hang out with a green tea drinker? Changing the subject with a smile, by the way, there's a good stock to watch lately. Your family should pay attention to it. On Monday, we went to school together. Daisy sat in the classroom sweetly greeting me. It seemed like she had gained a lot these past few days, prompting her parents to transfer her to the school. A few weeks earlier, I ignored her and went to my own seat. Everyone was curious about this new student, constantly approaching her to ask questions. Her voice was just loud enough for me to hear. I'm now adopted by Jessica's parents. She's my sister now, so Jessica used to attend such a good school. The playground at my old school wasn't even as big as this classroom. Dad said all the money is with her, so I can't afford her fancy backpacks and stationery. But I will study hard and not burden them. Many people looked at her with pity, and several stole glances at me coolly. I responded, then why bother studying if you're so eager to use nice backpacks and stationery? Drop out and work. If you make big money, you can even help repair the big playground at your old school. At such a young age, with such high ambitions, why linger at my house, spending my money on education and buying stationery? Everyone turned to look at me, several hesitating to speak. Daisy started crying again. All right, I'll be quiet now. In Jessica's eyes, everything I say is wrong. I smiled. Good, now just stay silent and be at peace. She sobbed, breathing weakly as if she was about to faint. Mike walked over to me with a grim expression. Jessica, you're going too far. I never knew you were this kind of person. She's so pitiful. Can't you be a bit more compassionate? I stood up, staring at him coldly. Is she your mom or your sister? She's asking for trouble herself, and you're itching to join in. If you care about her so much, then lock yourselves away. Don't come out and disgust people. Thanks but no thanks. I don't know what was going through Mike's pig brain, but suddenly he smirked. I knew it, Jessica. You must be jealous. This is only our second meeting. We have nothing going on. Don't overthink it. Don't be so antagonistic towards her because of me. I'll feel guilty. This time it was my turn to be surprised. I knew Mike was trashy, but I didn't know he was so full of himself. Perhaps he had always been this kind of person, and I just had rose-tinted glasses in my past life. Mike, please do yourself a favor and look at yourself in the mirror. You're targeting her for me. She can handle my targeting on her own. If you really feel guilty, just apologize to her quickly. Mike clenched his fists in anger, and I waved him off. Please move. We'll start class soon. You're blocking my view of the blackboard. I didn't spare anyone's feelings. Daisy behaved herself for a few days. On my birthday, I booked a restaurant, and my classmates came one after another to celebrate with me. Emily came with a dozen classmates, bringing birthday gifts one after another. I accepted them one by one, thanked them, and reciprocated. After a while, my parents and Daisy arrived, along with Mike and a few other classmates standing next to her, looking at me coldly. Daisy ran over empty-handed with an innocent smile on her face.
Jessica, I'm sorry.
I didn't bring a gift because I don't have much money. Happy birthday! I hadn't invited her but couldn't exclude my parents. I responded indifferently. Thank you. Her well wishes felt insincere, so I gave them 0 points. She felt wronged and muttered, Jessica, do you think I'm poor and didn't bring you a gift? I replied impatiently. Do you look dumb but think a lot in your brain? I said 2 words and you tagged me with such a long label. Emily seemed disgusted by her performance and couldn't help but speak up. Jessica never mentioned gifts from the beginning. Who are you performing for? And even if you don't have any money, at least you could have made a card. You came here without any preparation, and don't even understand basic etiquette. Who do you want to pity you? Daisy bit her lip, tears welling up, and Mike stepped forward. Maybe due to his age, he thought of himself as a hero, with determination in his eyes, standing a bit taller. Do you all think you can bully Jessica because you have the numbers? I scoffed. I didn't invite her. She came looking for trouble on her own, just like you. Sir Knight, please take your princess and leave. My parents frowned. Jessica, how did you suddenly become like this? We already told you Daisy has a tough. What did you do to her? I pointed to the door. You can dote on her slowly outside. My dad raised his hand high and I stared sharply. What right do you have to hit me? Jessica quickly put on a sensible look. Jessica, don't. You have so many people celebrating your birthday, they all love you. Don't make it too unpleasant. Unlike me, dependent on others, no one cares about me.
I stared intensely at her.
Jessica, why do you love to show off so much? Turning everything into a show about yourself? Would it be noble to kill your own parents? So it's worth publicizing this time. Jessica truly cried. She hadn't gained any advantage from me these few times, yet she was still so persistent. Talking about calling her cheap. Now I'm afraid she'll be delighted. My parents turned cold, looked at me, and shook their heads. You really disappoint us, Daisy. Let's go. Mike also looked at me disdainfully. Let's see how long you can be arrogant. They left with their entourage. Emily comforted me. Don't mind them. Once Uncle and Auntie and Mike see her true colors, They'll definitely be on your side. Maybe there will be a day when her true colors are revealed, but whether they stand on my side or not doesn't matter to me anymore. The birthday party was very enjoyable. Games, food, and wishes were all captured and posted on social media. The next day in class, Daisy was looking at my social media account on her phone, dreamily looking at Mike beside her. Jessica's birthday party was really lively. I wish I could have a birthday party like that one day. Mike clenched his fists. Don't worry. I'll definitely give you an even grander birthday party. I chuckled. Probably have to wait until your 80th birthday celebration. Mike's family is average, just an ordinary high school student whose allowance from parents isn't enough for his expenses. He used to ask me for money often, thinking I was well off, spending extravagantly to maintain a false image of my family's wealth. Now he's unsure of his own position, so confident he makes promises easily. He probably hasn't felt the frustration of being stuck with gum yet. 10 minutes later, class started. The test scores were out and I remained the top student in the grade. The school awarded a $2,000 scholarship to the top 3, a rule established by the school. After class, Daisy sighed casually, pretending to be disappointed. Too bad I'm just 4th. If only I could get that scholarship, I wouldn't have to bother Uncle and Auntie for pocket money next month. You have plenty of money, so you wouldn't care about this $2,000, right? Mike's eyes were full of pity. And when he looked at me, there was a sense of moral superiority. Jessica, you don't lack that money. Why not give the scholarship to her? It would be a good deed. I looked at him in surprise. I don't lack that money, but the school only gives it to the top 3. What can I do? Too bad. Why not work a bit harder? If I place in the top 3, I won't have to beg everywhere, right? Mike's teeth clenched in frustration, unable to find a response. In the evening, I planned to stay at Emily's house. After all, my own place was a mess. But I realized I had left my laptop at home and decided to go back to get it. Upon arriving home, I found my parents acting suspicious. I walked quietly to the door, making them startle. What are you doing? They exchanged glances with awkward smiles. Oh, nothing. We were just tidying up your room. I smirked, taking out a bank card from my bag. Looking for this? All the money in here is what I earned. If you want to take care of Daisy, I won't give you a penny. They were exasperated. We've never seen a daughter like you. We've raised you for nothing. Perhaps it was anger that gave them courage, and their steps were hurried as they fled. I packed up all my valuables ready to leave. I didn't want to stay at home. I might as well buy a new house. As I stepped out, I ran into Daisy coming home from school. No wonder she was walking so slowly. She was busy flirting with Mike beside her. When they saw me, their faces changed. Their hands suddenly let go, and the lips that had just met began to tremble, leaving an awkward atmosphere. I grinned and apologized for interrupting them. Spring hasn't arrived yet, so I felt a little embarrassed. Mike glared at me angrily and left without a word. Jessica also stopped pretending. She glanced at the box in my hand and suddenly got furious. What did you take from home? Who gave you the right to take things? I found it amusing. What's it to you what I take? Besides, wasn't everything at home bought with my money? Since I became wealthy, my parents only managed to find part-time jobs and barely made ends meet each month with a meager salary. But Daisy had always been mistaken from the start. She stubbornly believed that the money at home belonged to my parents. What are you pretending for? How can you possibly have that much money? I see you must be worried that your parents are favoring me, right? I assured her. I will fully win their love and kick you out like a dog. I smirked. Only fools would believe you. She was shocked. How did you know? Then she looked around, saw no one there, and regained her confidence. So what? I survived, didn't I? They deserve to live just so I can thrive. I'll take everything from you, and then I'll make you beg to me like a dog. I waved my hand and walked away. Later, I bought a newly renovated small apartment for myself for exam preparation. During this time, my parents often called me asking for money, but I ignored them. The school would give us 2 days off before the exam so we could prepare. Emily and other friends gathered around my desk, discussing excitedly where to go after the college entrance exam. Of course, we should go to the beach. It is hot this month, but it would be so nice to see the sea and feel the sea breeze. they suggested, mentioning that flight tickets were on sale so we could save some money. I intentionally spoke loudly, making sure Daisy could hear. As expected, Daisy, who always had wild ideas, sighed with a sense of injustice. Jessica is so lucky. Unlike me, I can only work during the summer. I have never been to those beautiful places. Surprisingly, Mike didn't bother me this time. He just clenched his teeth and made empty promises. Don't be sad. When I have some free time, I'll take you there. I felt relieved. Now Mike finally knew that to protect the woman he loved, he had to rely on his own hard work. Daisy's eyes sparkled. Not only did you promise to organize my birthday party, but you also planned a trip to the beach. Mike, you are amazing. Mike fell into deep thought, perhaps thinking about his financial situation. Daisy feared that Mike would change his mind. Mike, you won't break your promise, will you? Mike hesitated. I'll figure something out. I stood up, stretched lazily. Emily, pack up and let's go. We might not be coming back here to this classroom anymore. I looked around and walked out. I purposely left my wallet behind. Except for some coins, it only contained a bank card that I had taken back from Mike with the same old password. After the exams, outside the examination room, Daisy hugged Mike ecstatically. You are so amazing. When Mike saw me, he tried to avoid eye contact. I walked past them with a slight smile on my face. Perfect, the fish took the bait. Mike was taken to the police station, and his parents followed. When he saw me, he hung his head in shame, unable to look me in the eye. The police informed me that they had found my wallet at his house, along with his expenditure records for flight tickets, hotel bookings, and attraction tickets on his phone. In just a few days, he had bought a lot of designer clothes as a big spender. He also ordered expensive and beautiful dresses for Daisy. The school surveillance cameras captured his theft. Are you going to press charges? The police asked. Mike struggled to find some remaining dignity and self-esteem in front of Daisy, unsure about confessing his theft. He had his eyes on my wallet and firmly believed that the surveillance system was off. He probably knew my carefree personality, having lost my wallet several times before. So, with a sense of luck, he embarked on a path of no return. Now, full of pleading eyes, he begged me, Jessica, I was just confused for a moment. Can we settle this privately? I'll pay you back all the money. I smirked. How are you going to repay me? There's still over $200,000 on the card. Now there's less than $90,000 left. His eyes turned red as he said helplessly, I'll try to refund those plane tickets and cancel the trip. I won't go on my vacation. Frantically trying to operate the cancellation process, he ended up unable to return even $1,000. The discount tickets were non-refundable, and the labels of the designer clothes had been removed. After struggling for a few hours, he could only get back some of the expenses for tickets and hotels. Finally, he reluctantly left his phone and tearfully said, Give me some time. I will definitely pay you back. Considering all the years of our friendship, spare me. I was sickened. You owe me more than this 10-odd thousand. You can't repay it in this lifetime. As for those so-called feelings, they're just a disgrace in the first half of my life. How could I have been so blind to fall for someone like him? I turned to the police officer. I want to press charges. Despair filled Mike's eyes as he looked at me, filled with regret. His parents held my hand and pleaded with me. Please give him a chance. He's still young. If he goes to jail, his life will be ruined. We will compensate you. He is our only son. If we lose him, how can we go on living? I'm not soft-hearted. I didn't force him to steal. It was his vanity that got the best of him. The amount may be substantial, but with a fresh start, he could reform and soon be back on his feet. Mike, being of age, was sentenced to 3 years in court with irrefutable evidence against him. He trembled uncontrollably when the police took him away. As he passed by me, he fell to his knees, crying and begging for mercy. Jessica, I was wrong. Please save me. I don't want to go to jail. I gave him a gentle push with my foot. You reap what you sow. I then turned and walked away confidently. The court ordered Mike to compensate all my losses. As a beneficiary of the stolen money, Daisy also had to pay a part of the restitution, totaling 34,250 yuan. While not a huge sum, it was enough to crush Daisy. She stormed into my apartment, launching a barrage of accusations. How heartless can you be? Mike treated you so well before. He is still your boyfriend, and you actually sent him to jail. I chuckled. So you do know he's my boyfriend? Making a scene as if everyone doesn't know your illicit relationship with him? Your noble words. Do you expect me to forgive the ridiculous bond between you two and avoid reimbursement? Drop the act. No princess treatment here. Without the princess demeanor, she stomped her foot in anger. I won't pay you back. Also, return the money stolen from your house, or I'll report you to the police. I pretended confusion looking at her. Using the money Mike stole from me makes you feel righteous? She nodded proudly. Yes, it's your parents' money after all. I've charmed them now, and all their future money will be given to me. I just took a little thing in advance. What's the big deal? Besides, that money was stolen by Mike. What does it have to do with me? I didn't force him to steal. He was the one acting dumb like a pig. Shedding a few tears, she's like a devoted dog wagging his tail behind me. Seeing her entirely different from her public persona, I wasn't surprised at all. In the past life she was the same. Not wanting to lower my status by arguing with her, I closed the door, leaving her with just one sentence. If you don't repay the money by the 30th of this month, I'll request court enforcement. The next day my parents showed up with a tearful Daisy. Jessica, we've raised you all these years, and this is how you treat your parents? I squinted at them. Am I supposed to scold you or hit you? You let her manipulate you, pretending to be oblivious. Why come to me with this? My mom's eyes turned cold. Is it just a few tens of thousands? Is it worth pressuring Daisy like this?
I smilte her.
Of course it is. Wasn't that my money to begin with? How about you repay on her behalf? They had been supporting themselves during this time when I wasn't home, but after years of indulgence, their savings were limited. My mom's face turned red, unable to utter a word. My dad attempted to assert his authority as a parent. You're still our daughter, and your money is our money. Your property should rightfully include our share, I said firmly. I disagree. If you are not satisfied, you can take me to court. If the judge rules in your favor, then I have nothing more to say. My parents exchanged glances, instantly abandoning the idea. The likelihood of winning the lawsuit was low, and they knew how absurd their demand for money was. In the end, my mom gritted her teeth and said, I don't know how I gave birth to such a disobedient child. From today, I will sever ties with you unless you hand over your money for safekeeping. Otherwise, we'll no longer be your parents. I did value familial bonds before. Unfortunately, in the past life, I realized that my parents seemed somehow different from others. They could easily be deceived, disregard my feelings, and hastily cremate me like Mike, who had no blood relation, allowing Daisy to take over my life. That scene flashed before my eyes. My gaze turned icy. Fine, I have no parents, and you have no daughter. The two stood there dumbfounded, seemingly not anticipating my easy agreement. But the words had been spoken, and there was no turning back. The two left in a daze. As Daisy left, her tail was nearly wagging to the sky. I had said I would become the only girl in the household. Daisy, your tough days are coming. I smiled. Keep going, only 3 more days until the 30th. Since I was no longer Johnny and Susan's daughter, I had no reason to be merciful. I contacted a second-hand property company and sold the villa they lived in. When I led the staff to collect the property, Johnny and Susan were furious. How dare you sell our house? I replied calmly. Just because the house is in my name, is that reason enough? They watched helplessly as we signed the contract, with Daisy continuously howling on the side. Uncle and Auntie, you can't let her sell the house. Where will I live in the future? Wasn't this your house? Susan glared at me through gritted teeth. Do you have to be so heartless? Johnny was infuriated. We shouldn't have put the house in her name in the first place. I signed the last letter and looked up at them. I paid for the house, so I have the right to dispose of it. It's still early, so pack up and move out. They glared at me with resentment, but I paid them no mind. On the 30th, court officials accompanied me for the compulsory payment enforcement. Realizing they couldn't sit still, representatives from the property company joined us to find the family of 3. At first, they refused to compensate, but when the staff got serious, they reluctantly gave me compensation out of fear of facing criminal responsibility. The real estate company kicked them out without giving them time to pack up their belongings. They were left scattered all over the place. Finally, a few of them stood outside the tightly locked gate, unable to control their tears. They should have killed her from the beginning. Daisy cried so hard she couldn't even speak properly. Uncle, Aunt, are you just going to watch her take everything away? She is your daughter. She should give all the money to you. Maybe feeling desperate, Johnny gritted his teeth and said, "Let's go sue her." The lawsuit itself was never in doubt. I was an adult capable of managing my own finances. They couldn't take a penny and had to compensate me for the losses incurred in the lawsuit. As tens of thousands of dollars were handed over to me, Johnny cursed resentfully. My own daughter, not as caring as a niece. What have I done wrong? I laughed until tears came out, grabbed my phone and played them 2 videos. In the first video, under the villa, Daisy arrogantly yelled at me, "I know you must have tilted the scales toward me. Are you getting anxious? I will definitely win over their love completely and kick you out. So what? Haven't I survived successfully? They are doomed. Their existence is just for me to live, and I will take all your belongings and make you beg to me like a dog." In the second video, at the entrance of the apartment, Daisy was furious. "Yeah, isn't it your parents' money? They are already wrapped around my finger. All the money will be given to me if I use a bit in advance. So what? Besides that, money was stolen by Mike. What does it have to do with me? I didn't force him to steal, did I? He was just stupid, as dumb as a pig." Shedding a few tears, and he would follow me around like a dog. Her tone dragged on, her self-righteous attitude unmistakable. Johnny and Susan stared in shock at Daisy. Daisy widened her eyes, pointed at me and exclaimed, "You recorded it." Ignoring her, I looked at Johnny and Susan. "You two are also like dogs." Johnny angrily rebuked and slapped Daisy's face. "How can you be so bad at such a young age, causing trouble for your own parents? Materialistic and vain, even instigating discord in our family." Susan, indignant, also slapped her. "You destroyed my happy home." Daisy started crying. This was her most tragic meltdown. Stomping her feet and going out of control, Johnny directly grabbed her collar, lifted her up and threw her out forcefully. "How much have you harmed us, and you still have the nerve to cause a scene?" Susan coldly watched. "The money we compensated for you, you must return it all to us." Daisy screamed on the ground. "I didn't force you. You voluntarily compensated me." The scene was chaotic, but I had already walked away. The results were out, and I successfully got into one of the top universities in the country. Emily and I had planned to go on a trip. We packed up and had fun for a while. During this time, Emily told me a lot of things. After Daisy was beaten, Johnny and Susan sent her back to her hometown. She begged bitterly with tears and snot, clinging to Susan's legs. "Don't send me back. I will change. I will change. Go back. I won't have money for college. My uncle will force me to marry in exchange for a dowry." Susan kicked her away. "Get lost. Still pretending in front of us our family doesn't want to see you anymore." After she went back, she was indeed forced to marry an old man in his 40s with 3 children in exchange for a 10,000 yuan dowry. Hearing this, I couldn't help but find it ridiculous. Daisy had pretended to be pitiful so many times, and Johnny had been so affectionate so many times, but only this time, the most pitiful, she didn't receive any pity from anyone. Upon returning from the trip 3 days before the start of school, the couple found me again. They stood at the door, rubbing their hands with my cold gaze. Johnny spoke first. "Daughter, Dad and Mom were deceived by Daisy before. You are our biological daughter. Can you give us another chance to compensate you properly?" Susan also cried, holding my hand. "You are the flesh that Mom carried for 10 months. How can Mom really sever the mother-daughter relationship with you?" Looking at their sincere eyes, I was momentarily transported back to the time before Daisy appeared. But memories had blurred, and the yellowed photos could never be restored. I pulled back my hand. "I'm sorry, I don't know you." They cried and begged, using the term daughter, in an attempt to pick up the filial affection that had been trampled under their feet. I simply closed the door. In the middle of the night, I sat on the windowsill, staring at the neon lights of the bustling city, feeling an indescribable sense of relief. I went to university and started a new life. In my sophomore year, I heard that Daisy had died back in her hometown. She was just a regular village girl who climbed up to my house with lofty ambitions. After enjoying a good time here, she returned home dissatisfied, feeling unhappy every day and shedding tears. The guy felt unlucky and wanted to call off the marriage. Turns out the bride price had already been squandered by her uncle, and the guy didn't want to lose both the person and the money. Even though he didn't send her back, he never treated her kindly again. The man also loved drinking, and whenever he was displeased, she would face his fists and kicks. Unable to bear it, she wanted to escape but ended up getting beaten by her in-laws. Later, she became pregnant, and her in-laws' attitude improved slightly. To prevent her from running away, they locked her in a room. She tried to escape through the window but accidentally fell to the ground. Though it was only from the third floor, being far along in her pregnancy, it was a tragic end for her and her child. Hearing all this, I didn't feel sorry for her. She wasn't a good person either. If she hadn't been selfish, perhaps her parents wouldn't have lost their lives. It was all her retribution.